What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday, covering all the four major sports leagues, whether that be NFL, NBA, NHL, or MLB. And in today's episode, Nick, NBA hasn't necessarily slowed down free agency. We wake up this morning to a new LeBron deal, 2 years, $104 million max deal guaranteed. And you knew as soon as they were drafted Bronny, he was staying no matter what, even despite the opt-out. He was originally, I believe, trying to opt out so they could get the money to sign like a Klay Thompson just to help the team. But, when that didn't work, they just gave him the max. It was like, all right, we can just spend it on you. So, Lakers do lock up, obviously, a top two basketball player of all time, still very good. And even shot, I believe, like a career high or one of his best career three-point shooting seasons. So he still is clearly shown he's got the strength. He's got the mentality, the physicality to play at a high level still. So Lakers do lock up. They're a king and just, one of the best in the league, still the face of the league. Even, people have passed him in play. So that's always good.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I know people were kind of joking about LeBron could do the funniest thing and just go back to Cleveland after his kid gets drafted to the team he plays for. But everybody knew this was probably going to happen. He's probably going to finish his career there, unless Bronny gets traded. I would think is the only reason he would ever move teams. But at this stage in his career, He's obviously on the back half. Whenever you're 40 years old, I don't care who you are, even if you're LeBron James, you're reaching your final years. Yep. But it's going to be cool to see him play with Bronny, even if people say, "Oh, Bronny doesn't deserve it. Oh, he's only there because of his dad," all that junk. I think it's still going to be cool to watch, just because it's the first time. Is it the first time we've ever seen father-son duo on a team?
From what I can, yep. From what I know,
it's rare in general. Like I know we saw it a few times in baseball, just with like.
I think it is though the first time in it is the first time in the NBA because we've seen a couple close calls like 5 years or a couple of years apart. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's never been that close. To ever actually playing on the same team, so that's unreal. And then. Also, speaking of Bronny James, he signed a multi-year guaranteed rookie contract with the Lakers. Most people, even first-round picks, don't get after that first year guaranteed. So he's the first person in a while to get that multi-year guaranteed. So that was interesting. But, maybe that is a little partial to the LeBron effect. But, at the end of the day, it's just going to be great to see them two playing together and see what they look like in practice. But that's going to be fun. But, speaking of LeBron and a lot of these other players, they got the Team USA stuff coming up. So that'll be interesting to see, how hard he goes in that. Because obviously, I believe Team USA did it like 4 years ago and they didn't make it that far. That was a younger team, kind of a weird team. So they did assemble a much better team this time around, I believe. I think they got, LeBron. I think we went over the team a little bit on the live stream. You got LeBron, you got Ant Edwards, you got Tatum, you got AD, you got Bam, you got KD. So, they got Steph Curry. You got a lot of great players.
Yeah, there's no reason the U.S. should not win.
Yeah, but we'll see. But with that being said, just a couple minor stuff. So, obviously, the LeBron thing was probably the biggest thing this morning. Kyle Anderson goes to Golden State on a 3-year, $27 million deal. As a Timberwolves fan, I have mixed emotions because Kyle signed a 2-year deal 2 years ago, and he's just a winner. He is a great defender that can make the plays, but his shot really fell off from year one to year two. Year one, even though they call him slow-mo, he was shooting 40% from three. And then this year, everyone was just leaving him open. He couldn't hit it, and yeah, Nick pulls it up there. $9 million a year, simple thing. It was actually a sign and trade. They just couldn't afford him at $9 million. I thought he would actually kind of take a discount to come back on a minimum, just because I think he liked it here, and this was a safe spot for him. He had a role even when he couldn't shoot. Not sure how he'll fit in with the Warriors, but I'm gonna wish him the best of luck because It's no coincidence with one of these guys. You see, Nick, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the Grizzlies, they win 56 games with Kyle Anderson on the bench. A up and coming young team. He goes to the Timberwolves. They kind of struggle year one. Year two, plays really bad offensively, but still, is a leader in that room. That just helped the team once again win 56 games and make it to the Western Conference Finals. But at the end of the day, you couldn't bring him back at $9 million, especially with how poor his offense looked last year. So I'm curious. I talked about it on the Timberwolves podcast. It looks like Terrence Shannon Jr., the first-round pick, might be primed to take a spot. Obviously, he's a better scorer probably, but can he obviously not as good as a defender, so you're kind of, taking a 1A, 1B, but he's still a wing depth. So the Timberwolves are definitely going younger in this retooling of the offseason without money, having probably an A draft, but they obviously couldn't afford to bring anyone in like, a Klay Thompson or any big names. So, they have to live with, letting some of the edges go. They're trimming the edges basically right now, as I like to say it. You're on mute, Nick.
My fault.
No
this
worries.
is going to happen anytime, you've got a young up-and-coming team, you've got a superstar kind of waiting to come into his own. He's still growing. Is when your team starts getting good, you've got to start letting some of these guys go so that down the road you can pay a guy like Anthony Edwards, like Naz Reid, like, Karl Anthony Towns, even though he kind of got paid already. But
I'm not ready for that discussion when we do next off.
I remember this for the Celtics, though, when, like the Isaiah Thomas years, like we had to let a guy like him go. Obviously that was a trade and everything, but like there was other role players on the team. Avery Bradley, we had to let walk. There was a bunch of role players that everybody loved, all the way up to Marcus Smart. It takes losing some of the guys you love in order to win a championship. But,
that's true.
You'll always remember what they did for your team.
Yeah, he left on a positive note, especially after the first year. It was him and the Rudy Gobert punch to end it and on a sour note. And then this year, they got along and everything kind of went smoothly. So, guy ended it on a high note. Best of luck to him in Golden State. And then we got a Jonathan Isaac extension, 5 years, $84 million for the Magic. The Magic were kind of busy. We know what they're about. He's a great defender. He can shoot the three ball somewhat. It kind of he's been dealing with so many injuries though. Like if he can stay healthy and be a consistent, 3-and-D guy, this is worth it just because his defense is actually really good. But we'll see what happens when it comes around because, at the end of the day, he has been plagued by so many injuries that I don't know about this contract. We'll see. He has the potential to live up to it. It also has the potential, not even like because of his talent or anything, just injury history to do.
Yeah. This contract, because like you said, with the injuries, it's probably just a show of faith from the organization. Like, hey, we believe in you. We believe you're going to get healthy. We know the kind of player you can be when you are healthy. So now it's up to him to, take care of his body, stay healthy, and perform on the court. So, yeah. Shout out for getting his bag either way, despite being, somewhat plagued by injuries.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then just some other moves I feel like it's worth noting. Monte Morris signs with the Phoenix Suns, point guard. He was a really solid contributor to the Denver Nuggets that went to the Pistons. It was good, but got injured and was pretty much out most of this year until the second half when the Timberwolves actually traded for him. He can knock down some three-pointers and probably just pass. The Suns need any point guard help, so I bet they'll take that at a cheap price. So, that's fine with me. The Magic also extend the older brother Mo Wagner to a 2-year, $22 million deal. So Magic locking up some of their more core pieces. What struck me the most, Nick, I don't know if you saw this, was the Miami Heat are showing interest in DeMar DeRozan, which would be an interesting move just because obviously he doesn't shoot the three great. You have Jimmy Butler there. You have Bam there.
That would just make them like they're such an old team. Like they're no disrespect to like DeRozan. Like he's gonna obviously be a plus to wherever he goes, but I just don't think again that's what the Heat need.
And I also saw a thing with Miami, like there's some toxic stuff going behind the scenes, which is why they haven't acquired any superstar players, off the court issues with the coaching and all that stuff. So it's been weird with the whole Jimmy Butler situation too. So Miami Heat kind of been a disaster offseason. They had a couple of good draft picks, but it's been pretty much a disaster. When you are entering year 35 of Jimmy Butler, this window is pretty much closing all in all right before our eyes. So that's disappointing to see.
They had their chances when they beat the Celtics, but they didn't capitalize. So now they're reaping it.
And then speaking of the Celtics, wild piece of news, former point guard for the Celtics, mainly will be known for the Hornets, Kemba Walker, is hanging it up. He last played in the 2022 season. Really a solid basketball player throughout the team. And before he got injured on the Celtics, he was really good. He took them to the ECF in the bubble, made a huge impact. But obviously, injuries with him also kind of as a smaller guard kind of caught up to him. So it happens. But, he still had a lot of great years and was one of the more underrated point guards in our league. And obviously people won't forget what he did at college. So shout out Kemba. Definitely one of the good players from the 2010s that, will be missed.
Super underrated player, underappreciated. I feel like, people have kind of started bringing that to light now, how underappreciated he was now that, he's out of the league officially. But he was fun to watch, like even with the Celtics. I know it didn't work out for him here. Like it just didn't fit ultimately. But when he was here, it was fun to watch. Like he was, an elite scorer when he wanted to be. I saw like bubble highlights of him. So I
feel like if he doesn't deal with those injuries and Tatum was maybe a year or two older, same with Jaylen Brown, or maybe a couple years, I think that would have been a perfect fit, and they could have won that. Or the Lakers were really good, but they could have definitely beaten the Miami Heat. They took them to 6 games in the ECF. They could have easily made it to the finals. So, the quest, for the chip fell short, but he did bring a nice bridge in between the Kyrie Irving drama into him. And then they eventually, moved on to their new phase in life. But that's what happens. Shout out though, Kemba. So that was.
Not that he died, but we missed. Like it was fun. It was like his iconic. I don't know if you can see it in the corner.
Yeah, I see it in the bottom.
Buzzer beater in March Madness is moments like that are timeless. Like people are never ever going to forget that. So the cardiac Kemba. Is
and
officially
he was really
over.
on the Hornets too. Underappreciated there in a dumpster fire organization. So whenever you can make a name out of yourself there, kudos to you. With that being said, that was day 3 of free agency. It's been, busy week so far for the 4th of July, but, I'm expecting at least one more trade to happen. Obviously, a lot of the major signings are done with, but, you never know what the NBA has up their sleeves. 4th of July was when KD signed with the Warriors. So you never know what's going to happen on 4th of July if we get a big trade. But with that being said, obviously we'll be here to recap all of it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.